Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We got to add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since the government has been getting bigger. Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we are going to be talking about the continued Bitcoin crash down towards $60,000. Is Bitcoin about to fall all the way down below 60K? Is Bitcoin about to capitulate even farther? Most people got very excited when Bitcoin V-bottomed off of $60,000 over the last few days, but as we have been telling you, a V-bottom, a bear market bottom does not make, and we have been discussing how Bitcoin is having trouble getting above this level of resistance right here, this zone of resistance right here, between roughly 69,000, which is the previous all-time high, and then also $73,000, which was a bull market all-time high in 2024. Can Bitcoin actually recover from here, or is Bitcoin actually just going to continue following some of its moving averages straight on down towards $60,000 and even lower? As we speak, Bitcoin is attempting to break through this moving average resistance band, and my question for you today is whether or not Bitcoin is actually going to be able to recover here or not, because as you know, we have been predicting for almost 6 months now that the bear market bottom, should we enter one, would be between $50,000 and $75,000. Obviously, our low right now is $60,000, and there is good reason to believe that Bitcoin will drop down into the 50s. This is not me trying to promote FUD. This is not me trying to scare you. This is not me trying to liquidate you. This is simply me, as always, bringing you the facts, Jack, and helping you to understand where we are, where we're going, and what you need to know so that you can succeed in the cryptocurrency markets. If you're new here, my name is Jeb McAfee. I've watched 3 Bitcoin bear markets, this one included, done content all the way through. I have done tens of thousands of hours of analysis on the Bitcoin chart. There are over 3,500 videos detailing our Bitcoin analysis on this channel alone, and I have been analyzing the Bitcoin chart almost every single day for over half of Bitcoin's entire existence. So when I tell you that we know what we're talking about, we don't get it right every time, but I do know this chart like the back of my hand. Hey, I never noticed that before. No, I'm just kidding. This chart is one that I love, and I'm so excited to bring you some charts today. So without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Bartizan's in chat. Jarmel is in chat. Vitruvio for Life is in chat. Razzie is in chat. Ryan Foshog is in chat. Good to see you, man. He said, whoa, I got a real good feeling. Good deal. The pothead's in chat. We got a pothead in chat, man. We got somebody token up in here. Jared Eyes is in chat. Korozoko is in chat. Right Way is in chat. Waycress. Right Waycress is in chat. Here at Daily, talk about BTC. Let's do it. All right. Good morning, brother in Christ. Good morning. Let's jump into it. Well, I like to start with a bit of an overview of the markets. Then we're going to actually look at CoinMarketCap as well. This has been an aggressive bear market thus far. Bitcoin has dropped 52.5% in 130 days, and that is a very large correction, so it would seem. You see, it's a very common stance to take in Bitcoin and cryptocurrency right now that Bitcoin is on the fast track on this bear market. That, Bitcoin's bear market is moving much faster this time than it did in the last cycle. And the reason that they're saying that is because comparatively to the last cycle, if you were to look at price action, Bitcoin has already dropped an entire previous bear market. What do I mean by that? Well, thus far, Bitcoin has dropped from all-time high to all-time bottom, to bear market bottom thus far, $65,000. The last bear market in its entirety was only $52,000 deep. So many people think, 60K was the bottom, ergo, bear market over, time to expect Bitcoin to just moonshot. And you see a lot of these hopium tweets that are eventually going to be accurate, but I don't think are going to be accurate in the timing that people think. And you see people say things like this. You see people say, inverse head and shoulders pattern, brah, and then we're going to end up breaking up to $1 million like in the next few months. Or you see someone saying that we're in this cup and handle formation, and because of that, Bitcoin is going to be at all-time high before the end of the summer. And here's the fact. Those patterns, the inverse head and shoulders theory, the cup and handle theory, the breaking above this trend line theory, all of these are accurate, and I do expect that they're going to happen. But one of the most common mistakes that we can make in trading is being right at the wrong time. And if you're right at the wrong time, you are what is known as wrong. You have to get it right in price and right in time. Because if I say Bitcoin's going to $1 million, that's not much of a prediction. I can theoretically just say Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million one day. But that means Bitcoin can go to $1 million 100 years from now, and we're all dead, so who cares? Or I could be saying Bitcoin's going to go to $1 million in the next 5 minutes, and that's obviously not going to happen. I have to give a timeline. My timeline is I believe that Bitcoin will go to $1 million by 2035 and not later. So somewhere in here, it will be above $1 million. Somewhere in here, it'll be above $1 million. That's one of our long-term predictions on Bitcoin. And the reason that I bring all this up is because a great multitude of people are getting led astray right now, expecting that the bear market is over. But we do not ever see bear markets bottom out in February. We do not ever see Bitcoin bear markets bottom out only 120 days after the bull market cycle top. That does not happen. It has never happened. And although this crash thus far looks enormous, it basically is mirroring the last bear market cycle to a T. And when you see the fact that the $60,000 bottom is actually hovering above the all-important 200 moving average, it actually doesn't tell me that the bear market bottom is in. It tells me that Bitcoin just put in this bottom right here, and there's all of this to go. I think that Bitcoin is mirroring the last bear market very nicely, and I do think that our bear market that we're witnessing right now is probably going to be about 2/3 the size, both in time and percentage depth, as the last bear market, but we have not achieved either one of those metrics yet. If you were to take the length of the bear market from cycle top to cycle low, you're looking at 378 days. I would estimate, based on dozens of indicators, based on hundreds of charts, everything that I've looked at for the last years, that this bear market will be about 2/3 the size of the previous one, maybe up to about 3/4 the size if things get really bad, if you were to see some kind of mega collapse. That would indicate to me that this bear market that we're currently experiencing would not necessarily be 380 days, but it would likely be at least 250 to 280 days. 250 days from cycle top to cycle low puts the bear market bottom in like June. And if you start pushing up towards 3/4, I don't think we're going to have a longer bear market. I think it's going to be a little bit shorter. It might be 2/3, might be 3/4, might be 4/5, might be 80%, whatever. Then we're looking at somewhere around June to August that we're seeing the bottom. We're not in June or August. We're in February. Okay, well, when we talk about the depth, and I genuinely expect that this bear market is not going to be as deep, and I'll explain why in just a minute. I don't think that this bear market is going to be as deep as the previous bear market. The previous bear market was 78% deep. I don't think that that's going to take place. And a big part of the reason for that is because historically bear markets get smaller with time. When you look at the bear markets thus far in Bitcoin's history, you saw that this bear market was 88% deep. This bear market was 83% deep, if you'll recall. This bear market was 77% deep. So you see this continuing trend of them being smaller. If you were to say it's 5% smaller every time, then you could reasonably say that this bear market would be 72% deep. That'd drop us down to $35,000, but that doesn't make sense on the moving averages. You had a stunted bull market, so it makes sense that you'd have somewhat of a stunted bear market. That said, 52% is still significantly smaller than 77% by a huge, huge, huge margin. It is significantly smaller. And so that's where I am not at all convinced that $60,000 is going to hold. If Bitcoin were to drop 60% from all-time high, that's where I might start saying, okay, that actually makes a lot of sense. Because at that point in time, you'd be dropping back down to the 300 weekly moving average. You have a 60% bleed in Bitcoin. That does actually make some sense. You're looking at the $50,000 range to like $53,000 to $55,000 range. And you see Bitcoin doing something similar to what it did before in the last cycle, where it dropped down here below the 300 moving average for a very short time. It actually bounced off of, I don't have it up here, but I think it actually bounced off of the 400 moving average, which in our case would be in the high 40s. As we approach that level over the next several months, that would probably be right around $50,000 or so. So is $60,000 a good entry? Absolutely. It is a fantastic entry. $60,000, if you give it enough time, will grow to being worth over $1 million, in my humble opinion. I am very confident that you are going to see a massive, massive return if you invest in Bitcoin at $50,000 and $60,000. Are we going to potentially go lower than 60K? Yes. And I very much believe that that's going to take place. I very much believe that Bitcoin is going to spend time in between the 200 and the 300 moving average, and you can't convince me otherwise because Bitcoin does it every time. We have followed the cycles to a T. Let me give you an example. Watch how long the cycles are from bottom to top. Check this out. Bottom to top, cycle is 847 days. So, sorry, that's not where we measure from. Right here, from bottom to top, cycle is 1,071 days. From bottom to top, cycle is 1,057 days, like 14 days difference. Bottom to top, cycle is 1,050 days. The cycle lengths are almost perfectly the same. Bear market lengths. Let's do this now. It's uncanny how similar they are. Cycle top to cycle low. 406 days. Cycle top to cycle low, 371 days. Cycle top to cycle low, 378 days. It's possible that this bear market is a little bit shorter, like maybe around 280 days. But honestly, you shouldn't be getting your hopes up too high because the bull market was just as long. So my prediction is that the cycle is a little bit shorter, but maybe not by much. It might be 2/3 to 3/4 as long. Right? It might not be the full 380 days, which would put us out at October, right? Mid-October. But it's probably not going to be longer than that. And if it's going to be shorter than that, it's probably only going to be a little bit shorter than that. So as we've been saying since last year, the bottom of this cycle is probably sometime in summer of 2026 to early fall, late summer to fall of 2026, right? And as far as the depth, the timing of the bear markets have largely been the same, but the depth has gotten shallower. So that gives me a prediction that sometime in July, August, September, somewhere in that range, and probably about 60 to 60% deep or so, that gives me a bear market bottom right over in here somewhere. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. And it's no wonder then that when you zoom in on the short-term time frames, that you're getting some really nasty price action. Look at this. We just did this like a couple of minutes ago while I'm talking here. Look at that ugly upper wick. Look at that. Rallied up to 68.7, slammed to the floor. I'm not here trying to manipulate the markets. I'm not here trying to crash the market. I'm not here trying to FUD you out of your position. I just want you to be ready that if you buy right now, your Bitcoin could drop 50% before rallying 1,800%. And that's not a bad thing. This is a fantastic entry at $67,000. These are incredible entries. But what I need you to understand is all the hopium, all the hype, all of this exuberance and excitement of people that are still bulls in a bear market is just evidence that the bull market has not completed its bear market. It is only evidence that the fools have not capitulated yet and accepted the bear market. When everybody accepts, except for yours truly and you also, that Bitcoin is dead is when it will recover. There's a very few it's a very small community when the bear market bottom is in. It's very small. Like on YouTube, it's in the thousands. It's tiny. When the bear market bottom is actually in, it's tiny because the reason that you dropped that far in the first place is because everybody finally accepted that the bear market is over. I'm sorry, that the Bitcoin experiment is over. We are not there yet. We are not there yet. There is still too much hope of a super cycle. There are still too many people longing and getting obliterated right now. I genuinely believe that you will see $60,000 revisited. And I put my money where my mouth is. I genuinely believe this. On X yesterday, I said, buy here, right down here around 50K on this line. We've talked about this. Definitely need to see that. See, Catfish said Bitcoin's heading to zero. We need at least 90% of the community to think like he thinks, and then we'll bottom. And then that's when we'll go up. I posted the other day. I said, where is it? Prediction. Bitcoin will fail to rally above 73K and will start heading back down towards 60K within 45 days. That was yesterday, and that's exactly what we're doing right now. So it's too early to declare victory, but what I can tell you is that Bitcoin has very strong resistance right here, and all I'm seeing is an overside, underside test, and then a rejection. That's all I'm seeing. That's all I'm seeing is that Bitcoin is failing to break through resistance. And it makes sense because at the end of the day, what we're doing right now is Bitcoin is in the middle of a cycle, a bear market cycle, and we just do not want to go and declare victory too early saying that the bull market is back because we don't have evidence that that is happening just yet. So listen, these are excellent entries. And if you want to get an even better entry, I'm going to show you a tax strategy that is going to be very helpful. Listen, taxes suck. Nobody likes them, but crypto's getting bigger and the IRS is paying attention. And so you have to be very careful. If you want to avoid taxes, here's one incredible way you can do it that's legal. That's the wonderful thing if you actually study the tax code is you learn legal ways to avoid taxes where you're not going to get in trouble for them. Why? Because the people at Capitol Hill wrote the tax code this way so that they could avoid taxes and you just get to benefit. And one of the ways that you can avoid taxes is through something called a traditional IRA. Any money that you invest in Bitcoin or in anything through a traditional IRA, you don't have to pay taxes on that income that year. So if you're making $100,000 to $200,000 a year, you're in a 24% tax bracket. Let's say you're making even less than $100,000. You're still most likely up there at that top line, up at 22%. So let's just say that you come on over to iTrust Capital by going to itrustcapital.com/go/crypto-jeb. That's a mouthful, so the link's in the description box down below. And you sign up for iTrust Capital, which is the #1 individual retirement account provider for cryptocurrencies in the cryptocurrency space. When you sign up and set up a traditional IRA the exact way that I have, and I fund it every month, what you can do is you can deduct that investment against your taxes. And then what that means is you're basically buying Bitcoin with a discount that is equivalent to your tax bracket. So if you invest $1,000 and you use that $1,000 in a traditional IRA and you avoid paying 24% taxes on it, it's really kind of like you bought the Bitcoin for it's really kind of like you bought $1,000 worth of Bitcoin for $760. So what you can actually do is you can basically come in here and in a real sense, you can say, since I bought Bitcoin in a traditional IRA, it's almost like I bought it for 24% under spot price because I don't have to pay the taxes on the money that I invested right now because it's in a traditional IRA. Buying Bitcoin 24% under spot price right now is $52,000. Now, obviously, your entry is going to be whatever the spot price is. But those tax savings you can put in your pocket, you can go and spend them, you can invest them in Bitcoin, you can do whatever you want. So you can, in theory, get 24% more Bitcoin for the same price because you're not having to set aside part of your paycheck for taxes on that money that you are investing in the traditional IRA. And you can do all of that through the #1 individual retirement account provider in the world for cryptocurrencies, which is none other than iTrust Capital. So I highly encourage you to sign up with the link in the description box down below because who wouldn't want to buy Bitcoin while it's trading at $67,000 after you factor in the tax savings for $51K? I know I do. That's where I'm buying Bitcoin right now. All right. Poo Poo Demon said, "I'd buy Bitcoin at $0. Easiest buy ever." Yes, Bitcoin can't go to zero because I have a limit order to buy every single Bitcoin if we drop below $1. No, a lot of people do. All right, let's keep it going here, guys. So the first segment of this stream, I wanted to detail for you why it is highly unlikely that the bull market is over. And I know that that's an unpopular opinion. But once again, my job here is not to earn your favor. My job here is to earn you money. My job here is not to make you happy. My job is to help you build wealth. Now, I love you, and we're going to have some fun. We're going to have some kicks. We're going to have a great time. But I want you to understand where we're going. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you in love, but I'm going to tell you the truth. So here's something else you need to consider. Moving averages. Oh my goodness. We talk about this extensively in the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. We talk about the convergence of moving averages, right? The convergence of support and resistance and the convergence of long-term trends. As you guys know, we have been teaching technical analysis through the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy for the better part of a decade now. And one of the things that we teach is the convergence of support and resistance. And we also talk about the crossing over of long-term support and resistance levels. We also talk about this in our moving averages video, which is right up here. It's a 16-minute long video teaching you exactly how moving averages work. You can check out some of these previews with the link in the description. But anyway, I want to show you some of these crossovers that are very important. Let's go ahead and turn off our moving average here. And what you're going to see is that on the daily chart, there are two moving averages here that are very, very important. These moving averages are none other than the 200 and the 300 moving average. And there's something very interesting that takes place whenever they cross bearish. Whenever they cross bearish, it denotes that Bitcoin is in a bear market. Now, it's a lagging indicator. This is not something that tells us that Bitcoin is going into a bear market because it actually takes place far into the bear market. But what it does tell us is that the bear market is not over, and it also tells us that a precipitous, massive crash is probably right around the corner. Notice here in 2014, when the 200 crossed below the 300 moving average, Bitcoin immediately waterfalled. Now, it doesn't look like that big of a dump, but when you look at it on the percentages, this was a 25% movement in 10 days. And basically the exact day that these moving averages crossed over, Bitcoin began a 71% descent that would last 165 days and take us from August of 2014 to January of 2015. The entire second half of the year, Bitcoin crashed, and it crashed hard after these two moving averages crossed bearish. Now, when they crossed bullish, if you'll notice, it led us into a bull market. Simple, right? Very simple. These moving averages crossing are very important. When you see the moving averages cross here, they cross right here. I remember this. I was making content back here. They crossed. Bitcoin had a little bit of a rally, and then basically within the next 150 days, Bitcoin would drop 58%. Pretty miserable, right? And even over here, we had our little miniature COVID-induced bear market. You can see that we actually ended up dropping very dramatically here as well after this cross. It's interesting because when this cross took place right here at the very beginning of COVID, at February, in March, Bitcoin would dump because Bitcoin, its rally got completely stunted because of the global pandemic. You see that? All right. So the next time that you see this crossing over was right here, and then briefly we crossed bullish again, and then we crossed over bearish right here. And so what we saw happen is in the bear market, when the 200 crossed below the 300, you would see Bitcoin dive 65% over the next 198 days. So a couple of things to point out here. First of all, the smallest crash that Bitcoin saw here was not 65, I'm sorry, 60%. We saw Bitcoin crash 60% after this drop, after this cross, over 200 days. So the things to note here are that the bear market bottom was still at least 180 days away when the cross took place. And the bottom was still possibly as much as 50% away when the cross took place. Well, have I got some news for you permabulls that don't want to accept the truth that we're in a bear market? This cross took place at $75,000 on February the 3rd, this time. You can see it right here. You can see it. There's the cross. Evidence is right in front of you. In fact, it's right here on February the 4th. So if we look on average from February the 4th, where was the price? It was about $72,000. On average, guys, you're looking at a 60% dump or more that lasts another 200 days. That would put Bitcoin bottoming in this cycle at $30,000 in August of this year. Now, are we going to go that low? Maybe not. But what I can tell you is that I have plenty of reason to tell you that the bear market is not over when none of our historical metrics give us any indication that it should be. $60,000 is not the bear market bottom. That's my prediction. I've said that, and I mean it. If $60,000 is the bear market bottom, that probably means that Bitcoin is going to like $800,000 next cycle, because that would be a tiny. Actually, I take that back. If $60,000 is the bear market bottom, that actually might mean that the next bull market is going to be shorter and more stunted because we didn't get the wipeout that we need. So I take that back. Actually, that would mean a smaller cycle, not a bigger cycle. The point here is not that I think that Bitcoin's going to 28K, because I'm not convinced that that's going to take place. Our last bear market was 400% higher than the previous bear market. I don't think that we're only going to have a bear market bottom that's like 80% higher than the previous bear market bottom. I think that you're going to see the bear market bottom a lot higher than 28,000, because as Florida J is saying here, this bear market is significantly different than the previous ones in depth. But in structure, it's actually virtually identical to the last bear market cycle. So what we have right now is we have a fractal that Bitcoin just set this bottom right here just a couple of days after that crossing over. Let's pull up the twin charts here. It's the easiest way to look at this. Let's go ahead and delete all of our drawings over here. Delete all of our drawings over here. Let's compare the two bear markets here, guys. Compare the two bear markets, right? You have your crossing over right on that day, February the 4th. And then you have your crossing over right here on this day, on May 11th, I'm sorry, 2022. What happens? very soon thereafter, like the next day, notice that? You see what I'm seeing? The next day, let's move this. Not going to be able to see this like this. Let's move this over a little bit. There we go. The next day, after the crossing over, or 2 days later, after the crossing over, you see this wick down here to $25,000. The next day after the crossing over here, you see this wick down to 60K. This is the same beat of the bear market. It's exactly where we are. Markets don't always repeat. In fact, a lot of times they don't, but they do often rhyme. And this market is just, I mean, it just feels like it's cheating as a technical analyst. This is like easy mode. It is so easy to analyze this market right now. It just makes my job simple. Because when you look out here at the moving averages, what you're going to find is that Bitcoin is doing the exact same thing that it did before. Where did that little beat that we just look at, where did it take place? Where did it take place? Make sure we turn this moving average on. It took place just above, you see this? It took place just above, these are both the 200 moving average. I know the coloring is a little confusing, but this is a 200. It took place just above the 200 moving average. See? Took place just above the 200 moving average. This beat, you had to drop 12% to get to the 200 MA. In this case, you have to drop about 2 to 3% to get to the 200 MA. What does this mean? This means, once again, and I'm kind of hammering this home. I want you guys to understand this. This means that Bitcoin, where it stands right now, we are not here. We are either here or here. We're in one of these two locations if we were to plot our current market on the previous market. If we're here, which is, honestly, I know you don't want to hear it, but this is the more likely option. If we're here, then that means that we're up here right now because we're above 60K, and you got 47% to drop over another 190 days. Right? 47% to drop over another 190 days would put us at like $36 to $40,000 in August. If we're down here, which is the more optimistic prediction, which I'm not convinced that we are, then you could be looking at another 24% drop over the next 160 days. So 24% drop over the next 160 days is like 50K. So are we going into the 50Ks? I absolutely think so. And here's part of the reason. There's two reasons. I'm going to give you two more reasons why I believe we're going into the 60Ks. And by the way, if you want to learn more about how to do technical analysis like this, I'm telling you guys, the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy is the place to be. We've got over 60 videos teaching you exactly how to do the kind of technical analysis that we're doing here. And I'm going to tell you why you should. Why do markets follow TA? Is it because TA is astrology? Is it because it's magic? Is it because someone's doing tarot cards or palm reading or some other demonic crap that seems to be a lot more prevalent than we think it is? No, that's not why. The reason that TA works is because in any market, you have nerds like me looking at the charts and saying, this is what happened before, so this is probably what's going to happen next, so I'm not buying until this happens. I'm not buying until I get this buy signal. I'm not buying until this level. And what's going on at hedge funds and major institutions around the world is they have nerds like me doing technical analysis on the chart saying, wait a second, Bitcoin is tracking with the last bear market perfectly. And that market is telling us that the bottom's not in. So we're not buying at 67K, we're gonna buy at 50. And the buy orders keep going lower and lower and lower. That's why I want you to follow our channel. I genuinely believe that this is the best channel on YouTube for you to understand what's going on in the Bitcoin markets right now, because we are looking at the same charts, the same patterns, the same facts as the institutions, and we are making the same moves as them. Sure, we've acquired some right now, but I'm not acquiring everything until Bitcoin gets down into the 50s. Am I going to miss the boat? I highly doubt it. I highly, highly doubt it. Bitcoin's dead cat bounce is obvious right now. We are not seeing the kind of recovery that you would want to see if Bitcoin was actually about to go into a massive rally. What we are seeing right now was a slight reversion of the RSI so that Bitcoin can dump harder. What you're probably going to see happen is another dump relatively soon, and I said in the next 45 days, probably sooner than that, back down towards the 200 moving average. The 200 moving average will be tested. It will happen. Mark my words. I can't tell you anything for absolute fact, for absolute certain. But I will tell you with great confidence that the 200 moving average will be tested at some point. It will be tested at some point. And I can also tell you with great confidence that there is absolutely no reason whatsoever to believe that the bear market bottom is in just yet. That said, we are close. We are getting close. It's probably somewhere in the 50Ks, could be somewhere in the high 40s, but I don't think you're going into the 30s. I don't think Bitcoin will ever break below $40,000 again. I said on X a while back, I give it a 99.9% likelihood that Bitcoin never goes below 40K again, and if it does, it's probably only going to be for a very short time. So at the end of the day, you have to trade the market that you have, and the market that you have right now is a very, very bearish market. Now, there's always long opportunities. You can come on the chart and make it say whatever you want if you don't want to follow the actual evidence. And what you can say is you can say, look, Jeb, inverse head and shoulders pattern. Totally, there's an inverse head and shoulders pattern. Could that break out? Could this falling wedge break bullish? It absolutely could. Is Bitcoin going to drop back down to $60,000 right away? Probably not. Probably not. But what I need you to understand is that if, for example, you're going into a really big long trade right now, you just need to be careful. That's the main thing you need to do, is you need to be careful. Bear markets are for accumulating. If you have a good short trade, man, take it, of course. But bear markets are for accumulating. What are we accumulating? We're accumulating spot Bitcoin for a very long-term trade. We're trading just the same way as you did out on the minute chart, but we're saying we're going to execute this trade over the next 5, 10, 15 years. We're buying Bitcoin at 66K, and instead of having leverage do the work for us, we're having time do the work for us, which is a lot safer. And we're saying, I think Bitcoin's going to go 15x from here to $1 million. It could possibly go down to like 36 to 50K, in which case I would just buy more. So is right now a good time to buy? Yes, in my opinion, I think it's a great time to buy. But let's say Bitcoin does drop down to $40,000 from where we are right now. If Bitcoin dropped down to $40,000, that'd be a 38% decline. Are you prepared to take that kind of sell-off? If you are, great. Enjoy $66,500. It's a fantastic entry. If you are, great. Enjoy MicroStrategy down here at $128. If you are, then enjoy Metaplanet down at $2 or wherever it is. It's like at like $2, right? So enjoy the entries. And the final thing I'll say on all this before we read some chat is that Bitcoin is going to be just fine. Bitcoin is going to be just fine. There is so much fear in the space around, oh my gosh, guys, this is it. This is it. Bitcoin's dead. You're not going to make any money like that. Come on. Figure out what you believe. There was a survey done of decamillionaires. It was a survey done of the decamillionaires themselves and people that knew the decamillionaires. And what that survey found is that the thing that makes people extremely wealthy, and the thing that has always made me extremely wealthy, was not network, was not contacts, was not intelligence, although those things are very helpful. I have those things, and they're very helpful. But it's not those things that make you wealthy, because a lot of people know rich people. A lot of people know successful people, and they don't become successful. Why? A lot of people are very intelligent, and they don't become successful. Why? The vast majority of people that succeed in the world succeed because of one thing, and that one thing is integrity. They figure out what they believe. They get extraordinarily convicted about it, and they demand that all of their actions come into alignment with that true principle that they profess to believe in. This is how all of the great Christians of old and of present have become as successful as they have in evangelizing and preaching the gospel. They become convinced that Jesus Christ is the Savior of mankind, and they work very diligently to bring all of their actions into alignment with that truth. They don't cheat on their wives. They don't hate people. They love people. They act like Christ. Steve Jobs became extremely convinced in personal computing. He became extremely convinced in this fact. And so he brought everything that he did into alignment with the idea of personal electronics. Same thing with Bill Gates, with Microsoft. Now, Bill Gates, goodness gracious, he's got a lot of scandal right now. But he did, as far as, I'm not saying that he's integral in everything, but he put a lot of work into this thing that he believed, which is a computer on every desk in America. Right? That was the Microsoft vision. You see what I mean? Think of anyone successful. MicroStrategy. Saylor. We've interviewed Saylor on the channel. Insanely convicted on Bitcoin. And in his integrity, I'm not saying personal integrity in every area. All these people are not perfect. They've got different things going on. But in one thing, they said, I believe this, and I've done my research. I know why I believe it, and I'm going to bring every single facet of my life into alignment with this. It is the convicted. It is the people with integrity that succeed. Friend, I challenge you to figure out if you actually believe in Bitcoin. And if you do, then walk in integrity and do something about it by bringing your actions into alignment with what you say you believe. And if you do that, you will succeed. Here's this cheat code to success. Figure out what you believe, figure out if it's true, and then figure out how to make your actions align with that true belief that you hold. And you will become incredibly successful if you give it enough time. That's how you succeed in life. You figure out a principle that is true. It has to be true. It cannot be wrong. It cannot be evil, because you will only accelerate your road to failure. It has to be true. It has to be just, and it has to be good. And then devote yourself to that truth. Bitcoin is true. Bitcoin is digital truth in an era of digital falsehood. Bitcoin is digital scarcity in an era of hyper abundance. It is countercultural, and it is countercultural in all the right ways. And that is why Bitcoin will be just fine. It is exactly the reason that Bitcoin is going to be fine. And if you profess to believe in Bitcoin because you've done your research, then seeing Bitcoin at $66,000 should not scare you. It should excite you. The only two reasons that you should be scared right now is if, one, you did not do your preparations, and so you are not at all financially prepared for a bear market, and although you believe in Bitcoin, Bitcoin's volatility, which is a gift to the faithful and the prepared, is a curse to the unconvicted and the unprepared. You're under the curse of Bitcoin's bear market cycles. That happened to me. You know, at one point I was like, oh my gosh, Bitcoin's dropping. I was not ready for this. I'm very much ready for this cycle. You know why? Because we teach financial sovereignty and we actually live by it. If you want to learn about FinSov, the overall financial principles that we use to build wealth and keep it, I highly encourage you guys to check out the FinSov Academy with the link in the description box down below. But we are prepared for this. Not only am I convicted about Bitcoin's future, I am also financially prepared to weather the storms that come about every 4 years. And that is why we've been rocking this bear market. Do we get everything absolutely right? No. Do we get every prediction absolutely right? No. But within a few days of October the 6th, when Bitcoin hit all-time high, we believed that Bitcoin was going to go down to 94. The day that 94 did not hold, we said we were in a bear market and we're going to 50 to 75,000, and that's exactly where we've been ever since. If it drops below $50,000, then I will consider that an incredible fire sale, and I will be extraordinarily excited to buy Bitcoin down there as well. If I'm wrong and the bear market does go down into the 40s, I'm okay with that. You know why? Because I'm going to keep some cash. Because I'm going to follow my principles. I know what our family does with finances, and I'm going to follow those principles. And listen, I know the bear markets are hard. And so if you guys need help walking through this bear market, or not even need help, you just want to talk to me about it, I highly encourage you guys to check out financial coaching with yours truly. I would love to sit down on a Zoom call with you and go over your finances, go over your budgeting, go over your investment strategies, go over your portfolios. I know some of you guys are bleeding on all. Some of you guys are in a bunch of debt. Some of you guys are close to liquidation, and this is not something that you need to share publicly. Anything that is discussed in our financial coaching sessions is 100% completely and totally confidential. I might share the story, but I will never share your name, and I will never share any information that would lead back to you. It will be 100% confidential, and I would love to help you understand how to walk through this bear market the way that we're walking through this bear market, which is with integrity, which is with financial sovereignty, which is with a plan to capitalize on this crash. And I'm very, very excited to see what our family and what our company is going to be able to do over the next 4 years because of the preparations that we did this year for 2026. And if you want to learn how to break out of financial bondage and replace that financial bondage with what we teach, which is financial sovereignty, then I would love to teach you the right principles and the right habits to get right there. So make sure to check out financial coaching with me with the link in the description box down below. We want to break out of financial bondage, and we want to start having supreme power, authority, and control over our finances given to God, walking in integrity so that we can bless those around us, so that we can have peace, so that we can sleep at night The book of Proverbs chapter 3, one thing I tell people in coaching all the time is that Proverbs chapter 3 says that when you walk in wisdom, you shall lay down and your sleep shall be sweet. You will know that you're walking in financial sovereignty in a number of ways, but one of the ways you will know it is because you are laying down and your sleep is good. You're not worrying about Bitcoin dropping 50% because you see that as an opportunity, because you got dry powder that you're ready to deploy, because you got high income, you got low expenses, you got low debt. You are in a position to capitalize on these markets because you've done your research, you know what you believe in, and you are ready for whatever these markets have to throw at you. I'd love to help you. So make sure you sign up for financial coaching. Make sure you sign up for the FinSov Academy with the link in the description box down below as well, so you can actually learn the principles. Coaching is where I'm going to apply the principles. This is the academy where we're going to learn the principles. And then, of course, we also have the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy. There's over 60 videos over here teaching you everything that you need to know about technical analysis, so make sure you sign up for all three with the link in the description. Let's read a little bit of chat, and then we're going to wrap it out. Bartizan donated $5. Thank you so much. He said, if you had invested $100 every single time Bitcoin was declared dead by critics in the media, that strategy would be worth around $98 million today. That is absolutely true. I've seen that statistic, and it is absolutely accurate. It's over on Bitcoin Obituaries, which is on 99bitcoins.com or .org. It's .com or .org. It's .com. 99bitcoins.com. Let's see. There's the Bitcoin Obituaries over here. Let's see. I don't remember where exactly it is. Let's look up Bitcoin Obituaries. Here it is. Over on 99 Bitcoin. Bitcoin has died 477 times. Bitcoin has died 477 times, right? Somewhere on here, I believe it says that statistic. You can see all the deaths. Everybody likes to compare Bitcoin to Ponzi. Everybody likes to say it's dead. It's not. It's just not. You know, just enjoy missing out on the greatest bull run in history. I mean, seriously. S. Walker said, amen, dude. BK said, digital greed, amen. Jeb, Pew Pew said, Jeb, you got to stop streaming so close to market open. Yeah, told y'all just shorting the market open is the way to go. Yep. Yeah, I mean, ultimately, that's kind of what we're looking at here. You know, Bitcoin is not going to... There's no reason to believe that $60,000 was the bottom. There's just no reason to believe that. Queen said, I lack for nothing. Amen. M. James, 97301, is now a Jedi youngling. Welcome. Welcome, young Padawan. Green Day Prophets is in chat. S. Walker said, powerful stuff. Green onion salad. I thought that said green on island. Green onion salad. Shout out to green onion salad. We're going to 58K or lower. Liquidity sweep from above and redumping shorts are paying out like a sob. Yeah, you know, 58K is almost certainly going to take place, and it's probably going to go lower. I mean, seriously, the last thing I'll say here, because this is all, I mean, it's all really just very simple, right? Bitcoin dumps $37,000 in 22 days, and the bounce we get is $11,000. Guys, Fib retracements. This is like basics. This is back to basics. This is the Fibonacci retracements that we were teaching in 2018. Listen. Listen. Who's ever played The Legend of Zelda? Listen. Hey, Link. Listen. Are you listening? We only recovered to the 0.382. Do you know what that tells us? That tells us that Bitcoin is weak. It didn't manage to get up to 0.618 at $80,000, which would have been a regular correction that still would have been heading down. Nope. It only managed to rally to 72,000, which, by the way, was a previous bull market all-time high that Bitcoin just rejected off of. That's where we are. We are now in this zone. And where's the bottom of this zone? 50K. Where's Bitcoin going? Probably 50K. Probably. And the fact that we just did this, here's another thing I'll mention because we got to go. We got to wrap it out here. Overside, underside test of what? The 0.236. Bottom line, guys. Bottom ain't in. Don't get too excited just yet. I'll tell you when it's time to long. It's not yet. It's time to invest, not time to long yet. Be careful. Guys, if you have not already, make sure to sign up for financial coaching. Make sure to sign up for the FinSov Academy. And make sure to sign up for CT2A. These are excellent products that I guarantee you will provide you value. I 100% guarantee it, to the point where all of them have refund guarantees. And I am absolutely certain that you are going to be better off because you took these courses and signed up for coaching with me. Also, make sure to sign up for iTrust Capital and get that massive discount on Bitcoin, because you get to buy Bitcoin under spot price if you use those tax savings like that. You're not actually buying it under spot price; you're buying it at spot price. But the tax savings are bringing your cost basis on a real sense down. So crypto.com is absolutely iTrust Capital is absolutely phenomenal. So make sure to check them out with the link in the description box down below. And guys, that is going to wrap it out. I love you so much. But before I go, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always. And I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.